Hey everybody, it's a pleasure. We are continuing with our book Message from a Teen in the Spirit's World, The Big Journey by the Spirit, Neio, Lucio. We are at the chapter called The Compass. Last week we remembered I had a prayer evening, and while they were praying, I had a visit from a higher spirit, giving them some consolation, some news for them. This week we're going to do the complex, and let's start. The complex. Bright and early the next day, Aunt Eunice took me to the huge complex. The path leading to it offered gentle enchantments to my eyes and indescribable contentment to my imagination. Blossoming trees filled the atmosphere with a delightful fragrance. I saw that there was activity going on all around the homes we passed, but I rarely saw any children. Commenting on my surprise, Aunt Eunice told me that the village was devoted almost exclusively to the work of re-educating boys and girls coming from the earth, but that most of them were residents at the complex and were involved in solving their personal problems. She also informed me that only after they had made enough spiritual progress could these children reach the earth or seek out higher realms. She explained that not all the children who died in the world have to come here, because there are children who are very virtuous and are thus exempt from any corrective activity. However, most of the children arriving from the earth bring small vices with them, and so they require care and instruction. While Aunt Eunice was talking, I blushed with shame as I remembered the idleness and laziness that I used to like so much. After a really enjoyable walk, we finally arrived. The complex was beautiful. I was entrusted to the care of a saintly old man who was in charge of newly arrived children. Since I am not yet sufficiently sure of myself, I rested for several days and didn't try anything that took a lot of effort. So I had more time available to examine the huge place. There are many buildings situated amongst groves of trees, and there is an abundance of flowers. Many are different from the ones we are familiar with in earthly gardens, and some of them have the ability to retain the daylight. At night, they resemble tiny radiant stars. Thank you, sorry, we are back. The network, there's so many people using the network, so it's a bit slow. Let's continue. Many are different from the ones, and I need to read this again because this is so beautifully explained by a 13-year-old boy. Many are different from the ones we are familiar with in earthly gardens, and some of them have the ability to retain the daylight. At night, they resemble tiny radiant stars that seem to have fallen from the sky. A very gentle breeze is always full of aromas that doesn't have flowers around it. Study and work are intense. The complex is subdivided into several schools. Many teachers were here, and there are so many children that I still cannot calculate the exact number. They are all ages and sizes except for the ones who have come from the physical plane and who are less than 7 years old. Sorry, we are back again. Anita and Terry, thank you so much for watching. Let's continue the last bit. A new friend told me that there are special courses and places for them. And he's talking about the children that is 7 years and younger. One thing that I want to take out of this chapter is this. It is communicating on about the children, and she said not all children that dies on earth goes to the school or this complex. Some of them come because they have to work on themselves. It says here that they have to work on themselves and on their vices. And then he said here, while Aunt Eunice was talking, I blushed. Sorry, we are back again. And he says again, while Aunt Eunice was talking, I blushed with shame, and I remembered the idleness and laziness that I used to like so much. And this is what is standing out, the lesson that we are supposed to look at tonight. Look at tonight. It is laziness and idleness. And most of us are in a lockdown state where we are at home. But we need to ask ourselves, what are we doing? And are we in a lazy and idle state? In The Way, the Truth and the Light, the first chapter says, at the end there it says, the chapter is named Time. And it says that our time belongs to God. Because our time is not our time. It belongs to God. So what are we doing with our time? Are we in a state of idleness? Even our thoughts. What are we doing with our thoughts and our emotions while we are with our families in this time? And what are our thoughts? Is it idle on something that is not useful to God? Or is it by educating ourselves, being part of a spiritist movement, especially like Kodak Radio? I mean, there are so many programs going out that is so educational to each and every one of us, and that keeps our mind on great things. I mean, the book especially that I truly appreciate in this time is Hail Christ, that we are doing at night in America and in the mornings in South Africa. And I can't remember having a book really showed the way that we are supposed to be. It shows about spirits, how we are supposed to diligently work, especially. And if we think about Alan Kardec and Chico Xavier, which is his birthday today, so just think about that. So they work diligently. Sorry, I'm going to push through this network tonight. They work diligently. Us all these teachings from the spirits. And if it wasn't for them giving their life, actually, their whole incarnation in working towards the spiritist teachings, I don't understand where we would have been today. So even this book that was psychographed by Chico Xavier, which is beautiful for children to help them understand death and reincarnation and spirit in the spirit world. So all these things help us. But they worked diligently. And the lesson tonight is we have to go look at ourselves. What are we doing in this point in time to start off? Especially now, it is an opportunity for us to go out and do great things and to spread the spiritist teachings everywhere. And not to be afraid of what people says, but to be brave and to be courageous and do all these things. And it helps not only yourself, but there will be someone, somewhere, in whichever realm, that it will help. And this is what, let us not get discouraged. Let us just keep on going. And let us, while